All right. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to a very cloudy, uneventful, same day as the last. More job applications go out, more letters of unacceptance received, more patch notes, more review. So we're back. We're going to look at the patch. And I'm actually pretty surprised that this isn't the preseason patch, but I guess at this point, the preseason patch is next patch for sure. Like, there's no way, right? Worlds ends this Saturday. The finals comes out. Arcane comes out. And their whole big hoopla of events starts with the Chemtech Drake and everything as they've advertised. So it has to be next patch. There's no way. So if I'm correct, today is Tuesday, right? The 2nd. So next patch should be the 16th or the 17th of... 17th of Wednesday. So we basically got 2 weeks until preseason, so I'm assuming this patch is going to say probably nothing interesting or good. It's not really going to matter, but, you know, we'll still go over it. We got nothing better to do today, and that's a fact. So, let's see what they're saying. Season 2021 is coming to an end, but the party's just getting started. Oh yeah, with Arcane. The actual Arcane event is actually huge. Like, this thing, it's actually a lot bigger than I thought it would be. One thing Riot is really good at is they're good at hyping stuff up and just providing just advertisement. Like now, at first I felt Arcane was just like whatever, you know, it's coming out, it's their new show. Yeah, they advertised a little bit, but they are going all in with the advertising. I literally saw a fucking video on YouTube of a tower in Dubai flashing on the building, like on itself, Arcane like advertisements. I was like, holy shit. This is like actually crazy. I was like, yo, it's wild. But anyway, yeah, they're pushing Arcane as a whole big event, which is so crazy to think that we don't even have a pass for this shit. But anyway, let's keep reading. Who will win Worlds this weekend? Ooh, that's a great question. I think, who is it? Damwon versus Edward? I'm giving it to Damwon. It all comes down to these final moments of make break 2021. I think the Worlds itself has been so shitty. The colors of the stage and just the bright blaring blue have hurt my eyes. And the make break, like every season, they say some new bullshit. But anyway, along with the end of the season, we have Clash Rewards, Arcane skins, and Victorious Blitzcrank. All potentially free skins. Let's see. Then there's the usual champion buffs and nerfs, along with readjustment to Goredrinker, of course. And last but certainly not least, Arcane will be released this weekend. Okay, so let's see. Excuse me. We got 3 new skins, but I know for a fact Arcane Caitlyn and Arcane Jinx are also coming later down the line, so eventually we're going to see that, but that's probably going to be next patch. So, Arcane Blitzcrank will be available this patch to eligible players, aka if you're good and you got gold or higher, I believe. But let's see. Players will be able to earn Arcane Jace starting November 8th and Arcane Vi starting November 15th for a limited time. So, yeah, they are free, probably through in-game missions. Then Jinx and Caitlyn probably are the same thing, just even more later on. So, for the month of November, during Riot X Arcane, we'll be diving deeper into the world of Arcane and celebration of its launch. Come join the party on Summoner's Rift with Intro to the Arcane, or Intro to the Arcane. Featuring Arcane-themed map accents, which means minions too. It's actually looking pretty cool. Free to earn Arcane-inspired skins. They're basically new base models. Like, they're not bad. They're just a different style. It's like, imagine if, like, base, like all these champions, Vi, Caitlyn, Jace, Jinx, have like chromas, but they just went a little bit further with it. It's basically like that. I don't think they change any effects, except for Caitlyn, because Caitlyn's getting an ASU. But anyway. And 2 new interactive experiences coming later in the patch, which we'll find out about later. But I went on their site. It's pretty cool. There seems like a lot of free stuff they're giving out, which is very nice. So, the Summoner's Rift Ranked and Honor Season will end at 11:59 p.m. local time on the last day of patch 11.22. Okay, so basically, ranked rewards will be distributed by December 16th, so you could get them before then. During patch 11.23 for all regions except China, where players will receive rewards in patch 11.24. More details can be found at the player support page here. I believe the last day of this patch, if it's not too long, again, should be somewhere around 15 or 16. So in 2 weeks. But anyway. I don't know why they just don't say the last day of this patch, but whatever. So, going into the champion buffs and nerfs. Let's see what's going on. Akali. I haven't seen any Akali. I think Akali is so hard to use, and they've nerfed her so much that she's trash, and only the mains will still play her because they're sick and deluded people. So, that being said, I think she deserves a buff. Although I don't want to see one, I think she deserves one. Let's see what's going on. Passive damage increased. Akali is steel weak across the board. Oh yeah, they definitely saw to that. Removing mechanics and everything. And considering she's still not showing up in pro, we have some leeway to help her passive shine in an important part of her gameplay. One thing I don't like that they're saying is Riot is basically saying, as long as they don't show up in pro and don't have a high win rate in normals, or, you know, in regular play, not just normals, rank 2, but as long as they're not in pro and they're crazy, like, we're going to keep buffing them. I don't know if, like, straight buffs nerfs is the answer. I think they need to give back mechanics or something. I think that would really help her, but the main problem I see coming from this is, once she's used again in competitive play, does that mean she's going to get nerfed again? Like, I feel like this champion can or cannot exist based on if she's used in competitive or not. But anyway, let's see what they're doing. Passive damage. Up by 15 early. That's pretty good. And then the AP ratio is going up too. And then late game, it's doing slightly more damage. The base damage is pretty good early. 15 extra damage, like level 1, is a lot. That's pretty good. Not great, but good. Graves. So Graves has been an absolute fucking terror in the top lane. Graves is one of the best, if not the best top laner in competitive play, and I don't know why. I played Graves top, it felt okay. Maybe I'm just not good with Graves mechanics, but it feels so fucking weird. It feels really weird. But anyway, he's ridiculous. He's non-stop use top, and albeit sometimes he does a lot of damage, but most of the time I feel like he doesn't do much. Much like Jace. I hate Jace. But I don't think he's too good, but because he's been used so much, he's definitely getting a nerf. So, let's see. He's been super dominant in Worlds. Super dominant. Graves' unique attacks have a generous crit ratio because back in ye olden item system, his crit builds were risky. Season 2021's item changes made building crits super safe for him. Yeah, because he just rushes all lifesteal like Draven. So we're tapping down the numbers on his pellet ratio. Base damage per crit strike pellet. So 30% bonus to 20% bonus. So he's losing a good 1/3 of his crit damage, which is 10%, you know, number-wise, but actual, like, in reality-wise, it's 33%. I mean, it's definitely gonna hurt him, no doubt, but I think Graves still does really decent damage, and, you know, the autos obviously do help, but the Q and the ult are really, like, I would say half as much of the pie, if there's an analogy I could use. But yeah, this definitely hurts him. I don't know if this is going to matter because it's mostly... I mean, I guess. I don't know. We're going to have to take a rain check on this one. I think it's a good step in the right direction, but I just don't think Graves is that good in general. But he's... The problem I have with him is he's super safe. Any safe top laner, I think, is a bitch and should not be played. And should get nerfed. Because they're too good. And they scale. Like, Graves scales and he's safe. Gnar scales and he's safe. Jace doesn't scale, but he's safe, and I don't know why people play him. But anyway. Yeah, I guess decent nerf. Okay. Kalista, the ADC that's never used, because much like Akali, if she's ever seen in pro play, it's an issue. So the main problem with Kalista, if you're coordinated with your support, you do really well. One bad thing about Kalista is she doesn't scale too well. It's not too bad. If you're good, you could definitely do some damage late game, but trust me, it's nothing like a Kog'Maw or Jinx or something like that. Kalista's whole prowess comes from her utility she could do with the support, with the engage and the saving, with her ulti, as well as just her mid and early game domination. Because again, late game she kind of does fall off a little bit. She's an AD at the end of the day, but again, she's not hyper. She's not a hyper carry. So, unless she's really good, they kind of are just going to nerf her because they don't want to see her in pro. And she's really dominant if she ever gets a little bit of strength or is like slightly good, and you know your support, there's no way you lose. Like, Kalista's so strong, there's no way. So they have to be really careful with buffing her. But right now, she's in a state where she's ass. So let's see what they're doing. Probably buffing. Kalista's late game power for skewing her enemies isn't all that satisfying. Yep. So we're bringing up the damage on her signature spell, her E. This should also open up the opportunity for her to try heavier AD builds. Okay, let's see this. So I think the current build on Kalista is also Jinso's. So let's see what they're doing. Bonus AD ratio is plus 10%. Subsequent spear ratio, this is the important part, is up from 35 to 40. Okay, that's pretty good actually. So that means the more spears you put in, the more damage they're going to do. And just the more damage one spear in general is going to do. Pretty decent numbers actually. Not bad numbers here. The only problem is late game though. Some people are just so tanky. And Kalista's for the most part, unless you get Runans obviously, which you should, is mostly a single target damage kind of person, right? And if you're trying to kill a tank, it's going to take years. Most of Kalista's damage is on her E. Her autos do some of the work. But the main drawing factor is Kalista's E. And ever since they took away the epic monsters damage on it, then she's kind of been, you know, just champion damage. She used to be really great at just, you know, having an AD that could contest jungle camps like Jhin. But now it's basically like, yeah, you really like are not going to E the dragon or the baron like you used to. But she's mainly just for champions. And again, her main problem late game is that after you do like 10 autos, if you were any other AD and you did 10 autos to someone, they'd be dead. But on Kalista, you have to do 10 autos, maybe a little bit more, then E them, then they die. Potentially. But, I mean, again, this helps. I don't think it's going to help a lot, but it definitely might get her a little bit more play. I think. Maybe. Kayn. I've heard from a lot of people that Kayn is OP. I've heard Kayn is ridiculous. Kayn's one of the best junglers in the game. Albeit, he's one of the only junglers who can actually work. Although he's not been seen in Worlds. But still, I think he's a really good jungler if you're good. Kayn has a lot of tools at his disposal for a player that knows what they're doing. The E is one of the strongest ganking tools in the game. If you go red, you have CC out the ass, healing, survivability, and great damage. You go blue, you're basically a really good assassin, and the E is the most important part of the kit. It's just really good all around. He's really good the better you are as a player. That being said, I don't think he's that good. I think he's very skill reliant, but then again, jungle as a whole is. But in general, I don't think he's bad. I don't think he's that good. I don't think he's bad. The only problem is he doesn't have a lot of playmaking potential. He's just an all-around decent good jungler, if you know what you're doing. So overall, I mean, they're obviously probably going to nerf him because everyone's complaining. But I think he's actually whatever. I think Kayn's okay. I haven't had too many issues with Kayn because you got to expect like some champions are going to be a little stronger than others. And Kayn's whole thing is, hey, I'm going to go into a fight, do pretty decent damage, heal, CC, and live. And I expect that. And if I can play around that, get anti-heal, you know, position properly, I don't feel like Kayn is that unfair, per se. Maybe they could reduce his ult or his healing a little bit, but that's all I could see, honestly. That's all I could see. Let's see. Red Kayn took a bigger damage hit than other fighters with the last patch's Goredrinker nerfs. So we're returning some damage to his kit. They're buffing him. Wow. Additionally, his ultimate has felt a bit lackluster early game. Well, yeah, it's supposed to. So we're bumping up its power. I don't think the power is the issue. Maybe in Shadow Assassin form. Maybe. But let's see. So, Kayn's Q in Darken does 65% plus 5%. 5.5 now of target's max health. So it scales better and does more max health damage, but not by much. So you're doing a little bit more damage to tanks, I guess, in general. This is stupid. The R, darken physical damage, 10 plus 30% of target's max health, 15 plus 13% per bonus, 100% bonus AD. That's pretty good. They're giving you a free 5%, and then it scales too further beyond that. That's really good. That's pretty good. So he just has more healing in general. Because remember, all the damage he does in Darken translates to healing. Pretty good, pretty good, pretty good. Not bad, but slight buffs. Cool. Khazix. This champion's ass. He needs to be removed from the game. I don't think he's good at all. If they don't buff him, I'll be surprised. If they nerf him, good riddance. I don't want this champion. Change is good, he said, but this bug almost got through the entire season without any changes. Yeah, because he sucks. Khazix has been generally strong all season. Wrong. And now that many competing junglers have gotten nerfed, yeah, because you want to put Zed and Garen and Talon in the jungle, he's become really popular. Yeah, because he's one of the few junglers that actually work left. His power has recently crept up from strong to OP. I don't know who's saying this, but whatever. So the Q nerf. Let's see. So they're lowering the AD ratio by 15% bonus AD. So it's going to hurt a little less, fine. And isolated damage is getting a big hit for 30%. This is fine. Khazix sucks. Maokai! I feel like Maokai was really good when his E was OP. And as a support, basically. He's not a good top laner. Like, let's be honest. Maokai's not a good top laner. He's not a good jungle. The only thing, and this is the same thing they need to do with Aurelion. The only thing they need to do to fix Maokai and fix Aurelion is literally this. All you gotta do is this, and I'll say it right now. Maokai, revert the ult. Great character. Great character, he's back in the meta. Aurelion, revert the W. Great character, you basically gutted everything else in his kit. Just give him back his W. Please, Riot. I don't know what's wrong with them. But anyway. Yeah, so Maokai's not good. They took away the one time he had to shine in the bot lane when his E was actually doing damage with Mandate, I believe. And yeah, he's just been not there ever since because he sucks. His ulti is not even an ulti. It's really bad. He's really bad. He's not a tank. He's not like a top laner anymore. Top lane tank. He's a support at best. So let's see. Maokai's tanky support builds have been excelling in solo queue and even surpassing his already powerful AP support builds. So this tells me two things. Number one, they vastly don't know what the fuck they're talking about because while I do think tank Maokai is better, I don't think it's excelling at all. And they think his AP build is powerful. It's not. Just stay out of the bush. Honestly. Oh my god. We're pruning his early game pressure and durability and returning it later in the game for solo lane Maokai, which is also strong according to them, but not as popular. This is a great example of Riot lying to us 3 times. Maokai's not excelling in solo queue. He's not a powerful tanky support. He's not a powerful AP support. And he's not powerful at all. I don't know why they say his top lane's strong too. I dare you to go Maokai top, and maybe you'll go even. I don't think there's any lane Maokai necessarily wins. Maybe Kale. Maybe? Like, this is so stupid. This is so dumb. But yeah, they're nerfing Maokai. Let's see how bad it is. I think he's already pretty bad. Percentage heal goes down from 7 to 5% early. You're losing 2%. Not the end of the world, but I mean, I guess. And then W, wait, they said they're giving it back to him later. Wait, how are they returning it back to him? They're not returning anything. It's staying the exact same. Okay, so it's just a straight nerf. So the base damage of W is going down by 10. This does nothing. Maokai still ass. Riot's lying to you. Kiana. What do I think of Kiana? I think she's really hard. I think she might have been easier on release, and I've seen some crazy clips of people doing really flashy plays on Kiana, just murking people. I think I've played Kiana a total of 1 time. I was very confused. I didn't like it, and I stopped playing her. After seeing all these Kiana videos, though, of the people doing all these, like, jumps around and one-shotting people and being mad clean, I think, I've at certain points wanted to play Kiana. It's just, I don't think she's that good. The main thing with Kiana, which I hate what happens with certain characters, is mid and early game, their abilities matter. Late game, their ult matters. And that's pretty much it. It's kind of the same thing with Kennen. Let's be honest, right? If Kennen doesn't have ult up, he doesn't matter late game. If Kiana doesn't have ult up, maybe if she finds the AD, she could kill him, but again, who can't? So she just becomes an ulti bot. She's one of the characters that's super cool, but I just doesn't scale well enough in the late game besides being an ulti bot, a team fight ulti bot. So personally though, I think she's a little on the weaker side aside from jungle. Maybe the fact that she's jungle puts her as being good, but I haven't seen too much Kiana jungle. I know she could do it, and I honestly don't think she's that bad at it either. But overall, if we're just talking about mid Kiana, I think mid Kiana might need a buff. Jungle Kiana I think is probably okay, but I need to see more of it. But anyway, let's see what they're doing. Base health reduced, okay. Base health growth increased, okay, so they're making her worse early. Q damage changed, E damage changed. Why do they say changed? Just tell me if it's a buff or a nerf. Kiana is too strong in elite play, but weak in average play. I wonder why. So we're moving some power around instead of straight nerfing her. Okay, so they're nerfing her. Elite players are very efficient at capitalizing on early leads and quickly snowballing, so they're making her, a little squishier. Cool. So we're trading in some of Kiana's early power and gold scaling for her level-based power. Alright, so she's losing 20 health. She's gaining the extra 20 back with the levels. Cool. So the Q damage down by 10 early. And better late, base damage-wise, by 10. Weird, but okay. Less of a scaling, though. And then the E is scaling worse, but has a way higher base damage. Okay, yeah, so they're just shifting stuff around, so they make it so they want most of her power to be centered around just maxing her abilities, not necessarily getting too much off items, which I guess is fine. But I still think Kiana's not that good, except for Teamfight ulti. Renekton! I've seen Renekton alone in Worlds. I think Renekton is the stupidest pick ever. I think anytime they pick Renekton, 9 times out of 10 they lose. There has been some games where Renekton's been good, but most of the time, because Renekton's so simple and just doesn't scale well, he ends up becoming a pseudo tank. I wouldn't even call him a warrior. And I don't know. I just feel like he gets crapped on because his kit doesn't go too well into late game. What is he at, like, late game? He doesn't do enough damage, except to the AD. He'll live for a little bit, he'll stun, he'll do some damage, but I would actually categorize him later in the game more as a tank, less as a fighter. I feel like warrior, excuse me. I feel like other warriors actually do more damage than Renekton. It might be maybe less tanky, because Renekton's ult is really good. But his damage isn't ignorable, but it's not crazy. Like, as an AD, obviously, because I'm an AD main, when I see Renekton late game, I'm like, okay, that guy could probably kill me. But if I'm anyone else on the team, I mean, maybe a mid laner too, but anyone else, like the fellow top laner, you don't really care about Renekton unless you're 1v1ing him for extended periods of time. But when it comes to team fighting, I feel like he just doesn't compete that well. I think he's pretty bad, but he's been used in Worlds, so he might get nerfed. So let's see. The changes to Renekton stun 11.18 helped lower his popularity in pro play, but it came at way too big of a cost. We're reverting those nerfs and we'll be looking for other ways to make sure the Croc doesn't take a bite out of the pro scene again. Okay. So the W stun duration empowered is back to 1.5. The lockout duration, I don't really know what that means, is higher. Yeah, I don't know what this means. But Renekton's getting his longer stun back, so that's good. But nothing else, so he's pretty much the same. Riven! I've seen basically no Riven. I think there was a joke going around for a long time. Why play Riven when you could play Aatrox? And it's true. I feel like Riven has a couple more mechanics, like the auto attack canceling with the animations, that you need to do on Riven to be effective. And don't get me wrong, I think Riven offers something different but similar to Aatrox. They both offer damage, but Aatrox offers, I think, easier and more CC to land, and he can live longer. Whereas Riven could just output more raw damage and kill easier, but she gets blown up a little bit if you focus her. Aatrox will last and will do more consistent damage over the fight. Riven will do more, like, higher burst, but can get killed easier, I feel that way. So, they're pretty similar, though. I see them both as pretty similar. But Riven's definitely the harder of the two. If I had to choose between playing Riven and playing Aatrox, I would definitely play Aatrox. So, I'm assuming she's getting buffed. Riven was hit unusually hard by the Goredrinker nerfs, which is sad. Like, who uses fucking Triforce? Who uses that item? Jax, maybe? Maybe Trundle? Maybe, but not really. They'll probably use Divine Sunder. Like, they need to buff Tri. Like, no one uses Triforce, and a lot of people should. Anyway, Riven was hit unusually hard by Goredrinker nerfs and was particularly weak in point 21, especially in average play. Yeah, because she's a high school cap champion. I mean, come on. Even with the small buffs to Goredrinker, this patch Riven still needs a bit of love, so we're redeeming her damage and shield. The Q's going up base damage by 10, which is pretty good because it... Or no, that's her W, excuse me. I mean, I guess that's fine. 10 damage extra, cool. Her E shield is going up by better scaling, so 20%. That's pretty big later, honestly. That's a really scary change. A 20% increase. Yikes. That's scary. I mean, it is bonus AD. It's not as bad as total AD, but ooh, that's pretty big. The main thing about Riven's shield, though, is it lasts so little. But if you build cooldown, you basically have it up as much as you need it. So, pretty good buffs to Riven. This is actually kind of crazy. The E change is kind of crazy. Varus. I think Varus sucks ass. They need to bring him back to crit builds. Like, I don't know. I think Varus is so fucking wee-wee. I think he's so bad. But, I'm assuming he's getting buffed. He has to get buffed. I think Varus sucks. Let's see. I think most ADs suck, actually. Let me talk about some ADs here for a second. The only ADs being played at Worlds are Jhin, MF, And oh my god, I mean, if you've seen my world streams, you know my opinion on MF. Her fucking ulti is so terrible in the hands of pro players. MF, Jhin, and Aphelios. Those are the 3 decent ADs. They played a little bit of Jinx, but I was really sad because I think it lost. But most of the other ADs suck fucking ass. How do you have 3 or 4 characters in an entire role that are okay and good? Like, come on. I mean, you can make the argument for mid lane too, but I feel like mid lane there's a little bit more than 3 or 4 characters that are good. Like, it's the same shit in every game of Worlds. MF, Aphelios, Jhin. Pick one of those 3. Oh, Lucian too. Lucian. I forgot about Lucian. But he's sometimes picked as a top laner, but Lucian's also been played bot, so I'll give it to Lucian. So, like, 4 to 5 ADs are being used. Better than what I thought, but still. I think a lot of the other ADs need love. And Varus is one of them, so let's see. Hopefully they're buffing his crit. Our nerfs to lethality Varus were a little too piercing, so we're giving him power back to remove his lethality playstyle? No. But a bit shorter range than his Q. On-hit builds continue to perform solidly on Varus. That's disgusting. And we don't believe this buff will push them over the top. Well, let's see. The damage on his E is going from 60 to 90% bonus AD. That is insane. That's a 50% buff, basically. Like, they're taking 50% of his damage and just adding it on. I mean, it is bonus AD again. Bonus AD is not as good as total, but that's really good. That's actually crazy. That's actually a bigger number than I thought they'd ever do. That's interesting. But I don't play lethality Varus, and I don't see Varus that much either, so we'll see how this actually lands. What the fuck fell in my room just now? Who cares? Alright, Vi. I actually heard about these, so I'll give a little spoiler alert. We're getting a buff. I've heard people have been wanting this forever, and now that Vi's getting a spotlight, you know, in Arcane and stuff, they're finally giving it to her. I heard these are, like, years in the making, though, like, people have been asking for this. So let's see what it is. Vi can use some modernization to keep up with her sister, which is Jinx, a big surprise. So we're fixing some of the inconsistencies with how she acquires and CCs targets. These changes will enable Vi to reliably hit the enemies she flashes on top of during her Q, as well as knock up and knock back attacks more consistently. Only the finest of Piltover's finest. Let's see. So Q. Knockout duration is, or knockback, sorry. Knockback duration is going up by half a second, or no, even less than half a second, like 0.05 of a second, which is weird, but okay. If you hit a wall, dash range now extends up to 50 units when going over a wall. Okay, so that helps you get over some walls you probably couldn't before. That's really good. Updated. Distance traveled and damage dealt are now based on exact channeling time instead of every 0.25 seconds. So overall, this is a buff. Because let's say you go 0.35 seconds instead of 0.50, you only get the damage of 0.25. This means it's more linear scaling, basically. You're getting more consistent damage, which is good. I don't think it's going to matter that much, but it's good. Targets will get knocked back immediately upon contact with Vi. I'm surprised it wasn't like that already. That's kind of interesting, but whatever. So R. The knockup duration is now always 1.4. I don't know why it varied, but good. Both the target's knockup and Vi's self-stun during her animation have consistent durations rather than varying. That's good. Vi's ultimate knockup will take effect once she is 300 units from her primary target instead of varying between 0 to 300. So they're just making it more consistent. Nearby enemies in Vi's ult path will get knocked back immediately upon contact with Vi. I don't know why it wasn't like this already, but yeah, Vi is more modern. She's a slight bit better, but she's basically the same. Yumi! So we haven't really seen a lot of Yumi in Worlds from what I can remember. A little bit we've seen her, but I think she's, honestly, I don't know what else you could do. Her mana costs for her E are probably one of the highest in the game, if not the highest spell in the game. I can't think of a spell aside from maybe Kassan's ulti if you keep recasting it that goes higher than Yumi's E. So they definitely got her on the mana department. I actually think now, more than ever, you are encouraged, and it is enough of a payout to actually get off the person and utilize your passive by autoing and putting yourself risky. And they added the thing where, they added this, way far back, where when you get CC'd, you can't immediately jump back to someone. I think that should have been there from the get-go, but I think Yumi's in a really decent spot. I think she's decently hard enough, but she provides a lot of payouts, so maybe they can nerf her late game if anything. Early game, don't touch. Late game, they could definitely tone it down a slight bit, but I think she's almost in an okay spot, personally. I think she should be on the stronger side, though, for what she is. She's basically an AFK easy support, but with a decently high, skill ceiling. Not that high, medium high. But yeah, I don't think we should see any beating sticks coming out, but let's see. Yumi's been top cat at Worlds, while also applying at a very high ban rate in solo queue. Ugh. We're targeting her zoomies, specifically since it's one of her most frustrating aspects in longer games. It's also the main thing that makes her good, so let's see how they're doing this. It also doesn't need to be as powerful thanks to her early game buffs and patch 11.18. I don't remember those. Overall, these changes should encourage Yumi to be more active and helpful to her allies in lane, and not as frustrating to enemies later in the game. Her heal is pretty crazy, but let's see. Move speed is going down. That's personally very fine. I'm fine with them nerfing the move speed a little bit. The heal, let's see how bad this is. The heal is going from 210 to 190 with a slightly less of a ratio. That's fine too. As long as it heals a decent amount, I still think the heal is still decent. And especially because you probably get, what's it called anyway? The stupid healing item. I forgot what it's called. But the support healing item where if you hit people, you heal. I think because of that too, I think this is fine. I think this brings her a little bit more in line. This is good. Her mana should not be touched at all. It's fine where it's at. This is alright. So Goredrinker. Goredrinker's been an issue because everyone's been building it, because it's been OP, because you just like healing and you keep healing. It makes you tanky and you keep living and you keep healing and you keep living and you keep killing. So they nerfed it. We made some pretty substantial changes to Goredrinker last patch, and it turns out they beat the shit out of it and they drank its gore. So as we discussed in the last patch, Goredrinker is designed for outlasting enemies, not demolishing them and not dying. So we're pushing buffs into durability and sustain, not damage. These changes help bring it back up, but not to its past popularity. So let's see. The health is going up, the Omnivamp is going up, and that's it. Okay, cool. So I guess it was a little weaker, but that's fine. I don't care about these. Upcoming skins. So, let's talk about the skins. Victorious Blitz, pretty okay. I'm not really going to use it. There's better Blitz skins. But you get Blitz Eternals for free, so that's nice. Arcane Jace, pretty good. Arcane Vi, pretty good. Like I said, most of these skins, all the Arcane skins are basically just if you want an alternate base version of the champion. No new effects, except for Caitlyn. And they're pretty decent, you know, if you just want to look different, if you have no skin, these are a good alternative. You could choose between regular Vi or young. I basically call them the young versions of their skins because that's what they are. They're young Vi, young Jace, young Caitlyn, young Jinx. Basically it. But they're still decent. It's okay. Pretty good. I'm not complaining for free shit. Overall, though, pretty whatever patch. I mean, they didn't really do anything crazy because we're going to get preseason next patch probably. I'm just going to rate this one a decent. I mean, they didn't really do anything too crazy, right? Like, let me go through it. Akali, Graves, whatever. Kalista was okay. Kayn was, I guess, whatever. Khazix was stupid. Maokai, really dumb. Just for that, I should probably rate this pretty badly, but Kiana, whatever. I don't care. Renekton, whatever. Yeah, like, not much happened that I care about. Varus, whatever. Yeah, I'm going to give this one a 6. 6 out of 10 mark miles. I hope you guys enjoyed. I'm going to try and figure out what I'm going to do with the rest of my day now that I'm locked into No Not November and I am miserable. So, I will be potentially back soon, maybe not, who knows. No one watches me live anyway, but I might be live again soon. Probably playing Raft, but I don't know. So, I'm out of here. I hope you guys enjoyed. I might be back. 6 out of 10 Mark Merrills. I'm waiting for preseason.